People, I'm Shaggy the Opinionated Hippie, and this is part 2 of my Meet the Boots. And today we're going to deep dive into a bootleg. Couple bootlegs are out there, but we're just going to talk about what's on these various bootlegs. From the Winter 70 Hot Rats band, specifically in Los Angeles, California, the Olympic Auditorium, March 7th, 1970. And the reason I'm doing this one right now is because 2 days from when I'm making this, or actually today when I'm posting this, the Zappa Family Trust is releasing Funky Nothingness, which are studio recordings from essentially this band in this era. And so I'm revisiting this to sort of, get the anticipation even higher for that release. And plus, it is a really, 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 really good performance. And I think on a lot of people's, a lot of hardcore collectors' wish list, if they had something that could be officially released in pristine sound quality, it would be one of the Hot Rat shows. This is not pristine sound quality. Pretty sure it's an audience tape. I'd give it like a B plus, another 8.7, another 8.8. A lot of instrumentals. We got vocals on Charlena, vocals on Directly From My Heart to You. Frank does some talking. Can't hear the vocals very well. Does get kind of cluttered when we're like, things are getting crazy. Kind of gets that noisy kind of din that audience tapes have. But when people are soloing, the solos come through really nice. Frank's guitar comes through really nice. His rhythm guitar is ridiculous on this. Something that we would not get to experience almost ever from like 76 on. So fall 76 on. So it's really nice to hear his rhythm guitar, see what he's doing with his rhythm work. Sugarcane Harris's keyboard solos come through pretty well. There's a couple keyboard solos on here that are okay. Ian Underwood's like Chunga's Revenge saxophone solo maybe could be mic'd better. There's frustration that can sound a little bit better, but you can still hear that Ian's killing it. So the sound is not great, but I think it's listenable. Get that out of the way. So who is in this band? Frank Zappa's in the band on guitar. Ian Underwood is there playing sax. I think he has a keyboard solo. Max Bennett's on bass. Ainsley Dunbar's on drums. And Sugarcane Harris is on violin, vocals. And I also think he has a keyboard solo. I read somewhere that he played the first keyboard solo on this. I think it was from someone who was there. I don't know. That may be wrong. But there's a keyboard solo after Ian Underwood's sax solo in, in Chunga's Revenge? And I think it's a Harris keyboard solo, though I don't know that for sure. But yeah, so only 6 songs. And if you're going to find this as a boot, I know it's on YouTube. You just got to search the date. So you put in Frank Zappa, March 1970, Olympic Auditorium. A couple different sources will pop up. I think they're the exact same source. And my understanding is 5 songs were played, one of them being a medley. So you have Charlena to open up, Twinkle Tits, into interlude, though whoever recorded it, that is when the tape switch happened. When we reach the end of 45 minutes during Twinkle Tits, flip the tape. When it resumes, we're in the middle of interlude. I'm guessing the way that Frank, based on the fact that in the following tour with Flo and Eddie, Frank would have King Kong into Igor's Boogie, back into King Kong. I'm going to imagine this is something like that. The track Interlude is a track that the Mothers of Invention would like tack on at the end of jams. Very, very 60s mother sounding instrumental. You can hear it on Joe's Domage. It is the track Another Whole Melodic Section. That is the same music. That's the only other place it's been released officially. And so I think even though those are indexed separately, I think live it might have been one song. And so we cut off Twinkle Tits during the middle of a guitar solo, and then we join Interlude, I think shortly after it began. It's about 2.5 minutes long. But anyways, yeah, so we get 6 songs. Opens up with Charlena. This is the Lost Episodes version, that dun 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 dun, that really upbeat, kind of piano driven, like yeah, type dun 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 dun, a little bit heavier on the guitar. Really great version of that song. Love it. We get a Harris solo, we get a Frank solo. Harris solo is a little bit longer, probably the highlight. I mean, Harris solos are great, but Frank's playing rhythm under it, and just lifts it up. Frank's solo is pretty good. Then we get Twinkle Tits. That's an unreleased song that will be officially released. I think there's 3 different versions on Funky Nothingness. And it has some new musical sections in it, but also has a lot of Little House I Used to Live In sections in it also. And so it's sort of this new sort of instrumental piece, very reminiscent to Little House I Used to Live In, where you have like a couple minutes of this like pre-composed structured music where Frank's able to find a little space to throw in a short little solo. Then after we get like the main theme, we drop into the solo section, which for us is only Harris solo and then Frank solo, which gets cut off. Pretty abrupt cut. And then we resume when we're right in the middle of interlude, which is that piece that the 60s mother used to do. So yeah, I'm going to guess that they were a medley just because it makes sense. It might have been two separate tracks. Seeing that Frank's doing a lot of introducing between all of these, I don't see how during the tape flip, we lose the entire end of Twinkle Tits and the introduction to interlude. And I don't know why he would do like a short little interlude anyways. It's only like 2.5 minutes long. Seems like it was definitely sort of the conclusion to Twinkle Tits, which if we know what he would do with Farther Oblivion, where he would like have essentially three different parts that would become 3 other songs, it makes sense if this was one. So we get that. And then we get it Directly From My Heart to You, which is just fantastic, absolutely amazing. Love this song. I wish Harris had been able to stay in the band longer. Everything about this is a win. Perfect. Then we get what is definitely sort of the main attraction of this show, the main event, a 24+ minute Chunga's Revenge. The first 14 minutes of the Chunga's Revenge is what you expect from a Chunga's Revenge. We got the main theme. We got a whole bunch of solos. We get an Ian Underwood solo. We get that keyboard solo that I think is a Sugarcane Harris solo. We get a really nice jazzy FC guitar solo. We get a Dunbar solo. Then after the Dunbar solo, for the last 10 minutes of the song, we go into like slightly slower Max Bennett on bass, playing this almost death march, walking bass line, weird, slow, doom version of the Chunga's Revenge bass line. And he just starts it. Dunbar finishes his drum solo and it's almost like silent, but you can hear like Bennett just being like, doom, 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 doom. Just really slow, methodical, doom-esque walking bass version, bass line of the Chunga's Revenge. Then Frank brings the band back in. It's a little bit twisted. It's not quite as like clean. It's never clean, but it's not quite as like straightforward. And from there, we just enter like 10 minutes of just even more heavenly heaven. Sugarcane Harris just gives us a blasphemous violin solo that's just crazy, all over the place, making noise. Frank's dropping his like, rhythm guitar like crazy. And then we get... that goes into another, let's end this on a Frank Zappa note, Frank Zappa closing guitar solo, where he ends it for like another 3 minutes of just like going out in the stratosphere type stuff. Excellent. 24 minutes of just near instrumental perfection. It is just, it would be a cherry on the top, but it's actually the sundae. The other stuff before is maybe the whipped cream and the sprinkles. The cherry on top is the Willie the Pimp that closes. It's an instrumental Willie the Pimp. Essentially just get a Willie the Pimp, very Willie the Pimp throughout the entire thing. That opening riff, that vamp is like present. Everybody even like quotes it seems, almost in their solos. We get an FC solo, we get a violin solo from Harris, we get a keyboard solo that I assume is from Underwood, and then we get a bass solo from Bennett, and then we wrap up the song back into the main theme. Absolutely perfect. But yeah, 6 songs. They're fantastic. Love to see this officially released, but probably not an official soundboard recording of this, so probably will never happen. The sound is definitely not good enough to be officially released. But it's a great performance. It's out there on YouTube. If you are on the fence on whether or not you want to get the Funky Nothingness, I'm going to assume that this kind of vibe and this energy and these performances and what this band is doing here is going to be reminiscent of what we're going to get on that release. I might be wrong. And if I am, I apologize. But there is 3 versions of Twinkle Tits on that. There's a bunch of stuff with names that we might not know what they are. And maybe one of those includes a little interlude, another melodic theme somewhere in there. We get a version of Chunga's Revenge that this band is doing. We get the 2 versions of Chunga's Revenge on 3 versions of Chunga's Revenge on here. We get a version of Charlena. So yeah. You definitely, this will give you a sense, I think, of what some of that music is going to sound like. you know, especially since those jams in there are featuring Harris and Dunbar's there. And yeah. So that's it. So anyways, this is if you want to get a little taste of what that's going to sound like, but that'll sound in better quality, and it'll be in the studio and not live. Check this out. It is on YouTube. Again, search the date, search the Olympic Auditorium, and you should be able to find it. I know there's at least 2 sources out there. I think they're the exact same source, so it doesn't matter which one you listen to. But anyways, yeah, let me know if you check it out. Let me know if you've heard this before. Let me know if you like it. But yeah, that's all I got for today. That is another really, really good bootleg from that's out there from the Frank Zappa world. And if you do check it out and you like it, get Funky Nothingness. Support Frank. It's a pretty affordable box set. Comes out on Friday, June 29th, which I think is when I'm actually posting this video. So that's it. Yeah, anyways, that's all I got. Subscribe, share, like, and go listen to music, people. Go listen to all the music. Peace. Talk to you later.